Round 3, investment and resale value. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. I mean, resale HDB, is it really an investment product? Come on. I mean, HDB has in fact clarified this. HDB units, HDB properties are meant to be affordable housing. Yeah, but let me try and help you have a paradigm shift in that sense, okay? By actually buying a HDB resale first, in fact, this is the only way to own one HDB and one private property kind of portfolio, okay? So I have drawn two timelines over here. Say, for example, if you were to enter into a resale condo first versus entering into a resale HDB. Now, let's look at the second timeline first. Okay, so let's say if you were to enter into a resale HDB right now, say, for example, a 4-room flat, 450K kind of pricing near MRT, all right? Let's say we enter into sort of like an owner-occupier kind of ownership scheme, and say, for example, assuming within the next 5 years there is no change in HDB policies. So once you actually fulfill your 5 years NOP, the occupier can actually go out and purchase your condo property for your own stay. So in that sense, you are still able to upgrade into a condo property, yet still be able to hold on to your HDB property for rental income. And when it comes to rental income, later we'll share on a little bit more later why rental income when it comes to HDB properties is actually very strong. Precisely it's because of the lower quantum, lower cash that you actually put in. Now, say for example, let's look at timeline number 1. If you were to enter into a resale condo right now, okay, you stay for example 3 years, okay, and if let's say you want to go back into a HDB unit, you have to let go of your condo. All right, so once you have to let go of a condo, there's actually currently right now a 15-month wait out kind of period. In that sense, right, you're not able to actually hold one HDB and hold one condo at the same time in your portfolio. All right, and when you enter back into a HDB, you actually need to fulfill for another 5 years MOP before you can actually exit from your HDB or go back into the condo market. All right, so in that sense, to sum these two timelines all up, all right, entering into a resale HDB first is great because you are able to utilize it as your pivot home. Now, when we talk about pivot home, what do we actually mean? Alright, a pivot home is basically your first home that allows you to pivot yourself in the right position to actually kickstart your property portfolio journey ahead. Alright, so first and foremost for resale HDB, lower cash. So we brought up this point over here. Alright, now I want to move on to the second perspective over here. So when it comes to investment, of course, we have two approaches. The first approach would then be in terms of your capital appreciation. We acknowledge resale HDB, when it comes to capital appreciation, it's not something that we would actually advocate. All right, but when it comes to rental yield, it's something that resale HDB units are actually very strong and very strong at, and can have a better rental yield compared to a condo. Now, as we mentioned earlier, let's say for example, John and Sally, you enter into a resale HDB in the owner-occupier kind of ownership approach, and Sally is the one that is going to be buying the resale HDB. All right, let's look at the quick calculation breakdown. So let's say for example, in terms of your cash outlay, still very minimal. In terms of your monthly installment, still very minimal as well. All right, say for example, you buy a 4-room HDB that currently right now at along Bedok South Road, very near to Bedok MRT, with a remaining lease of about 50 years. Your total cash outlay, say for example, your first 5K in terms of your option fee, plus let's say you buy into the original unit, you have to do some form of reno, it's only about 85K. But I want to take you guys have a look. Say for example, after 5 years, you fulfill your MOP, and assuming no changes in the HDB's policy, the occupier actually goes out to go and John, you go out and to buy a resale condo. You can then able to utilize your current HDB unit as a rental yield machine. And I would say, if let's say for example you are earning about 3K per month in terms of your rent, you are looking at about 9% rental yield. And if you think that this is actually very high, in fact, when it comes to 3-room HDBs in Singapore, 9% rental is actually quite, I would say, a sizable amount, as you can see over here. So we've already breaking down for you. 3-room HDB, the average rental is about 7.8%, 4-room is about 6.7%, and 5-room is about 6.1%. And if you compare that with resale condo kind of rental yields, on average it's about 4.65%. So instantly you can see that when it comes to rental yield, HDB does have a stronger kind of sense to it. All right. And also recently with the news, just to sum up how February has went, condo rent has continued to soften in February, while HDB rents have a high as well. Okay, so I think the point that we are saying is that it's not that we are not asking you to buy into condo. Rather, we are asking you to not put all your eggs into one basket, which is this resale condo property, and instead being able to utilize your cash investment, your cash assets, your cash capital into other forms of asset investments, so that it can actually help you in as a stepping stone in your condo.
The first thing we want to talk about is supply risk. This is the current state of supply: 1.2 million HDB dwelling units versus 340,000 condo units. In these two articles, we see that HDB has already, or rather our ministers have come out to say, this high tempo will continue. That means the government will continue to build BTO units. Earlier on, they talk about 150 projects running at the same time by 2025. This also means that there are more HDB BTOs coming up. That also means that there will be more resale units coming onto the market. Now, this is how it looks like on the bar chart if we look at number of BTO flats that are going to MOP and come onto the resale market. This is how it looks like on the map. So, for example, if today Jun and Sally buys into the Canberra township, all around you, you are surrounded by neighbors who are going to MOP one after another. That means more competition when you want to sell your house. Now, the table above is the population white paper that was published in 2013. Projected 2030 population will be 6.9 million, and these are the breakdowns. We've also tried to cross-check that with latest statistics. Right now we are at 5.92 million in terms of total population. 3.6 of them are Singapore citizens, 540 PRs, 1.7 million foreigners. And that is actually that actually means that we are actually on the way to our 6.9 and we are on track. So this table will show you condo as the only class or only product that all segments can purchase. Now, what does this mean? If we put this side by side, one versus another, condo, you have a supply of 350,000, exit audience 7 million, that brings you to a ratio of 1:20. HDB supply 1.3 million, exit audience 3.5 million, that brings you to an exit ratio of 1:2.69. Question is, which do you think will have a better appreciation value? Now, earlier on we talked about unlocking money. This is a function of a resale condo that you can do only for a resale condo, not for a HDB unit. Take for example, if today you buy a property at $1.4 million, 3 years later it appreciates to $1.6 million. If you want to take out an equity term loan, the banks will only consider 95% of the value. That brings you to $1.52 million. Less of your outstanding loan at the 3-year mark, that will be $981,000. Less of your CPF plus your accrued interest that is used, that will come up to about $413,000. You will be able to unlock $126,000 in cash, which you can use for many other things. Kids' education for John and Sally, buy a new car, go for holiday. You can put this into a fixed deposit. You can put this into Bitcoin as well. Right now, tech stocks are all going up. Today, if you're a HDB owner, you can only look at all these opportunities, fly away. Because you cannot do this for a HDB. The only way to unlock your equity is to sell a HDB.
So just 2 years ago in 2021, like for a 4-bedder, you can get a size of 1,003 square feet. Price range is about 1.3. This is just 2 years ago in 2021. And as of like 2 years later in 2023, of the same size, the 4-bedder is already hitting a 1.8. That is an increment of 500,000 in paper gains. Let's say that I'm kind of biased against River Park because I'm selling one. Then let's look at Flow Residences. Similarly, back in just 2 years, in 2021, 4-bedder, 1,003 square feet is about the similar quantum of 1.38. And fast forward to just 2 years later, because of the increment in terms of the PSF, the growth is about 1.7. That's also close to about 500K profits. And then just take a look at what is happening to the resale HDB over there in Punggol. We take a look at around Edgefield Plains. This cluster just MOP. And just 2 years or maybe just 1 year ago, we are not saying that it won't increase, just that the increment is of a lesser value. What we are trying to say here is that if you have the reason and you have the affordability and you can afford to be able to afford up to a 1.4 or a resale condo, why would you choose to make a loss or like throw the chance of losing this possibility of getting a profit plus 2 years of your life?
All right, so Jesley, first pointer, if let's say for example, by any chance, okay, hopefully not, HDB policies change, occupier can't come out and buy a private property. Okay, so first and foremost, I think, I think we need to know that there's already HDB grants or CPF grants that you have utilized at the start.
Ramzi, please change to white color.
How do I change to white color?
Color.
Color, okay. This one? No?
Oh, this one. How to change
Okay,
color?
never mind. I shall not draw. But okay.
Okay, it's okay, you can draw.
Okay, never mind. It's okay. Come, first and foremost, you already have utilized your CPF grants. So in this case, you're buying a 4-room, instantly a resale first-timer grant will be about 80K. Let's say if you stay near your parents within 4 km, 20K, 100K grants that you have already utilized. And that would have to that would have helped to offset your initial cash outlay. That in the first place that you can utilize to even grow it so that 5 years later, you can assist, you can help your partner to purchase into that private condo. That's number one. I think number two is also in the sense that, let's say for example, if there's any change, you can always exit from this HDB and then use whatever cash proceeds that you have, plus say for example, you have already grown your cash outlay, your cash capital, you can then safely enter into the resale condo market. That's number two. All right, and I think pertaining to your second point, which was freehold condo. Freehold condo
for pivot home and then like another condo for own stay.
Okay. So freehold condo.
Okay, actually, because just now you mentioned maybe one for own stay and one for rental purpose, correct? And then because you were comparing to ours in terms of like owner or versus occupier. Sorry, one owner, one essential occupier, correct? You remember or not? Just now you shared. Correct. Because one own stay, one rental, right? Because earlier on when we say owner and essential occupier, you mentioned that the loan is on one person, correct? And then if let's say you are counting two separate person, then if you are going to buy two properties under John, one under John, one under Sally, both is private resale, then your quantum for the resale condo will drop drastically as well, ma.
Sorry, let me do the correction. What I want to bring out, the next pointer is that we are able to, let's say as a couple, own under 99.1 so that both of us can utilize both our OA and both our CPF. But because you choose to make it a owner and occupier, now you can only utilize one of your partner's CPF and OA.
Okay, I hear you. Okay, so yes, you are right that you can only utilize one person, but the thing is, we are still able to purchase a home. That is the key thing, right? You are still able to have a nest of your own. And earlier on, you also mentioned that actually for a couple, you don't need that much space, right, Jun Wei, you mentioned,
Yes.
as your first home. So
Yes, I did.
do you really need to spend 800K on your resale HDB? You could consider spending 450K or 400K to buy somewhere near to a MRT, and in the future, use it as a pivot home like we shared earlier on to have it get your rental yield. Because your rental yield, you rent that out, you save up for 5 years, and then you can purchase, let's say, a 1.5 million quantum property. And in the meantime, your rental income, you're looking at a 9% yield, which is something that if you were to say your rental yield for your condo, it's not something that you can get. Even if, let's say, you buy two separate properties after that, you decouple, and decouple also got decoupling fee. Yeah.
I think 9% rental income or rental yield is a very attractive figure. And I do think that if you buy into a HDB resale, you can sometime down the road achieve this 9% rental yield, no problem, very attractive. Here's the question I would like to pose to the resale HDB team. Today, if you buy a $450,000 4-room flat near an MRT, what is the lease balance? Earlier on, I saw you wrote down a lease balance of 50 years remaining, right? Here's the thing. Minister Lawrence Wong has already came out to say that not all HDB flats are eligible for SIRS. Only 4% of HDB flats have been selected for SIRS since the launch of the scheme in 1995. So, question is, are you going to hold this 4-room flat all the way until the end of its lease and return it back to the government at zero value. That's one. Second thing is, if you put one name to buy this 4-room flat, like we mentioned earlier on, to extract the equity from the HDB, you have to sell the property. So if you don't sell the property and you want to continue to make your 9% rental yield, you have to keep this property. That also means that the cash that you put in is stuck in this 4-room. The CPF usage for one partner is stuck in this 4-room. Now, here we talked about 15 months wait out period. Let's not also not forget, why did the 15 months wait out period come up? It came up because there were too many million-dollar flats being transacted during that period of time. Everybody is worried about HDB prices going through the roof. Future generations cannot afford. That's why the 15 months wait out period came out. So question is this, if today as a young couple, even you tell me I don't buy a $450,000 old flat, I buy a new flat, 900,000 in a city fringe area, 4-room flat, 800,000. Question is, how much more can your HDB appreciate in the 5-year cycle? And if let's say prices go up to 1.3 million, 1.4 million for a 4-room flat, can the next buyer afford the 4-room flat when you want to sell, when you want to exit at the 5th-year mark? Because we all understand there's TDSR. If you are a HDB buyer today, you are subjected to mortgage servicing ratio, MSR. Can that couple, the next couple, afford your HDB at that kind of quantum? That's the question. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jun Wei. Okay, so just to address your questions now, first and foremost, you mentioned about if let's say for example we are looking at about 450K 4-room near MRT, what kind of balances are we looking at? Yes, we do a bit. You do get to find like 50 years remaining. If that's the case, right? It's okay. It's totally okay to actually hold on to your HDB because number one, first and foremost, if let's say we go, let me just bring up the slide where we do the quick calculation. Okay, never mind. All right. So, say for example, let's say we are looking at a rental income of 9%. Okay, with this kind of quantum, we have already done the calculation. It takes about 10 or 11 odd years to fully pay off this home. Now, once you fully pay off this home, you will still be able to collect rental income, and this rental income can actually help to offset your mortgage for your condo property. So that's actually one way in which you can help to utilize the rental income that you are earning from your HDB over here, which is already by the time, let's say for example, you stay for 5 years, you hold it for another 5 to 6 years, you've already sort of fully paid off. You'll then be having a rental machine over here that can help to actually sustain your mortgage when it comes to your condo property.
I understand. It can help to sustain your monthly condo mortgage, but it still doesn't answer the question of the trapped equity. If this couple, John and Sally, sometime down the road, they do very well, and they want to upgrade from a condo to a landed, right? Quantum-wise, it's going to be high. They need 2 names. They need both partner CPF. How are you going to unlock this? You have to sell, correct?
The other thing would be that because, let's say this is going to be your pivot home, and then you mentioned that you're going to hold this HDB, just the decaying lease itself, and you manage to pay it off. But how many years of the balance lease would there be in the remaining? Whereas I'm saying that for the first 5 years, choose a resale condo, choose a resale condo that is freehold, such that the renter is able to sustain on its own, such that after 30 years, you, at the end of the day, still own a freehold condo, better than something that's already down to 0 years balance lease.
So you're saying to go into a freehold project for your first matrimonial home?
It depends on whether you're going for the pivot home concept, because now you're talking about pivot home, therefore I'm giving you another rebuttal or another potential of how a pivot home strategy can be like.
Okay, firstly, if you're talking about freehold itself, right, definitely your quantum is a big disparity already as compared to a 9-year leasehold project. And earlier on, you mentioned about 4-room HDB, you know, in terms of earlier on the timeline just now, right, the decaying lease like that. Similarly, as per RENA, you know, all your other 99-year leasehold condo project is going to face the same thing. If you talk about en bloc and things like that, it's similar situation. It's not just specifically to HDB only. And I think we also want to touch on equity term loan, which is something that your team brought up a lot on. So first of all, we want to look at the equity term loan calculation, right? How do you actually get your equity term loan? Okay, if we were to look at the calculation, right, in order to get equity term loan, you have to take 75% of the current valuation, less of your outstanding loan and CPF usage plus accrued interest, correct? And there are a few things that you need to meet first, correct? Your income must increase because TDS are 55%, correct? You're already servicing one loan. You still need to service an equity term loan, okay? And the property must have appreciated. That means your decision now is going to impact in the future whether you can take this equity term loan. So let's say that you can take it, did appreciate. And last but not least, you must have used minimal CPF. And now the question to you is, John and Sally, they are a young couple, they are buying their first matrimonial home. Do you think they are going to minimize their CPF or maximize their CPF usage? Just a scenario over here, in terms of the TDSR difference, which we mentioned earlier on also as one of the key pointer in an equity term loan. You are paying an additional $440 per month in terms of servicing your mortgage, your loan. And also in equity term loan, you have a 100K minimum equity term loan amount. So you need to make sure your property, it actually did appreciate above this amount. Otherwise, you won't be able to extract this equity. So that's something to consider. So it's not as easy as just saying that, oh, you can take equity term loan so easily.
I agree. But we are confident that if you buy the right product, it will appreciate enough so that you can take out the equity.
Okay, so Chiwi, just now you mentioned, you used an example of about a $1.4 million condo property appreciating to 1.6 million. And then after that, I don't know how you came out with the 1.52 million, but let's look back at the formula for equity term loan. So formally, equity term loan is basically using 75% of your current valuation, you minus off your outstanding loan, you minus off any CPF usage. So just now you mentioned they have about 900K outstanding loan left. They have about CPF balance, total usage plus accrued interest is about 413K. Now, if you were to take a current valuation of 1.6 times 75%, how much would that be?
We didn't take 75%.
But
we took 95%.
So that is the wrong calculation for equity term loan then.
That's how we got the figures for 126,000.
Alright, but basically, like what just to tap on what Yan Yan said just now. If let's say we do this calculation, you realize that actually there's not much you can actually take out from this equity term loan because of your CPF usage that you've already used, which is quite a surmountable amount because you are using it as your first matrimonial home. You definitely would want to utilize your CPF OA.